Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card. So today is going to be unapologetically mythical and mythological and spiritual. So this is sort of, we may touch upon some things that are more in your 3D life if the energies seem to point in that way. But what I'm really trying to get to is something that is on that mythic level for you. And it's in celebration of a new deck that I recently got called the Mythical Creatures Oracle. And you can see 3 cards from it there. There are 2 others that I don't know what they are, shuffled from the deck, and some astrology cards to give us a sense of the areas of life that these mythical creatures are guiding you. And that's what we're asking. What mythical creatures are guiding you now? What messages do they have for you? And also, what do you give back to them in exchange? So we'll look at both of those things as we go through. Like, why you? Why are these in your sort of mythological team? Why are they seeing you in their team? That kind of thing. What I really love about this deck, and if you like the look of it, in the description box below I have where you can purchase it on Etsy. So I have no affiliation with it. I just love the look of it. But what I really love about it, and it became really clear when I got it, is that there's all sorts of creatures in this, from gods like Horus and goddesses and sort of strange creatures like the Sphinx there and so forth, through to primordial beings, and even those that have been demonized somewhat through sort of religions over the years. So it kind of, what I like is it kind of rehabilitates them to some degree and makes it a bit agnostic about the issues, like the warring sort of factions between religions and so forth around it. So it's a very positive deck. It looks at positive messages and so forth. And so you can sort of see here that each of the mythological creatures has a certain message and energy connected with it, which we will look at as part of this. And more generally, what we get in terms of what tarot and other oracle cards tell us. So, as I say, hopefully it's going to be a bit of fun. It's sort of meant to be mythic. It's not meant to be literal, but anything that you feel that this sort of confirms for you, by all means take it as a confirmation. And you of course more than welcome to go to more than one reading if you're drawn to more than one reading. I'll have the timestamps in the description box below for all of them. But maybe to help, at least one of the mythological creatures has been intuitively shuffled to be shown to you to help with the choice. So for pile number 1, we have Sphinx, and that talks about manifestation. For pile number 2, we have Mermaid, and that talks about mercy. And for pile number 3, we have Horus, and that talks about faith. And we will go into what is said and as I say, explore that with tarot and other things as we go through the readings. So one other thing to say before sort of saying head off to the readings, just wanting to let people know, if you're interested, if you want to support the channel, I have a Patreon now, so the details for that are down in the description box below. You can get sort of exclusive content and other benefits that way if you're interested. No pressure meant, but just letting people know. And of course, you can still get private readings and other offerings from me at my Etsy store. So the details for that are in the description box below as well. Okay, so when you're ready, the timestamps for the readings are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome, pile 1, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Sphinx. You've also got Minoan, which is interesting because that was actually a civilization in Crete. So it's interesting that this deck includes sort of earlier civilizations as well around the sort of mythos involved. They were a civilization known for great art and architecture, which I think makes sense with what the message is here from the Minoan sort of Minoan culture to you, I guess, is what we're getting here. And then you also have the griffin, which is the sort of famed sort of magical bird that often is seen as gargoyles and so forth on buildings. And each of these are bringing a particular aspect to your life. And then we have here the sort of astrology cards to give us a bit more of an idea about how their energy is operating or what is operating for you. So if we go first to Sphinx, because you were drawn to that, the Sphinx is a very interesting character in mythology. It is the famed Sphinx is shown in Egypt in that sort of enormous carving of brick with the lion's body and the head of a man and so forth. But the concept of it is of a creature that could give prophecy and could tell the truth, but did it in riddles. So there was always a kind of a sense of you needed to be able to understand the riddle to get to the truth. In this particular deck, the Sphinx is associated with manifestation. It says everything you need, your courage, strength, knowledge, compassion and love is already within you, which I think goes to the core of the concept that the answers to the Sphinx's riddles were within. And there's a famous riddle, I think, that the Sphinx was supposed to have given, which was what walks on four feet in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 in the evening. And it was actually mankind, and the concept being 4 being crawling as a baby, 2 being the adult, and the third foot, so to speak, in old age was a stick. So there's a sense here of all the riddles and the capacity to manifest are within. And so the Sphinx is with you to help you work out the riddles, I would say, to help you work out what's within you that brings you the answers. And it's interesting because the Sphinx is particularly interested in your sort of potential around communication, learning, connection with others, all the things that are governed by the third house. Very mercurial sort of energy, with Mercury in the third house. Geminian, sort of like what are the various aspects or sides of things. So I think the Sphinx is here to help you understand what you already know so that you can manifest, particularly in the area of communication, what you want to do. And also I think to bring out a very innate talent you have in that area. When we look at the Minoan, as I say, they were a Cretan society that were very well known for art and architecture. And so this is talking about energy and the energy really to create. So here we have manifestation and here it is the energy to create. It says the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old but on building the new. So the new architecture, the new way that things would be. That's connected with Uranus. There is something here, I think, that these mythological creatures are with you to help you understand something that's innate in you and particularly something you can communicate that allows you to build something new, to not just do change but actually bring in something new. And as an aside, or maybe connected to it, we have the Griffin, which is talking about romance. It says you don't marry someone you can live with, you marry the person you cannot live without. So and that's with Scorpio, which is a very deep, intense emotional energy, certainly a physical attraction energy if this is about romance. There could be an extraordinary partnership that is meant to connect as well, to bring this into being. Or it could be through your communication skills, your capacity to change and bring in the new, you bring in great love. So it depends on what you're looking for, I think. It's either you are meant to have a partner and the Griffin is looking to make sure that you enjoy life with that while you create something very new and change focused in the world, or your capacity to change and build the new and understand the riddles within and communicate that is meant to bring you a great love. But it's got to be the one that you really need to be with, not the one that you would just think, okay, that'd be nice to be with. So there's something quite intense about this. It's very change oriented. It's very much about communication, but it's deep. It's very deep energy. So we want to explore it a little bit more with tarot, and we're going to ask for each. We're going to ask each of the mythological creatures, something. So we're going to ask the message of each. So I'm going to get 3 cards from tarot for each. So firstly, starting with the Sphinx, because that was the center card. This is also the riddle to be answered, given it's the Sphinx. So what does the Sphinx want to say to you at this point in time? Ace of Wands reversed. 5 of Wands reversed. The High Priestess reversed. Okay, this very much fits with the concept that the answer is within. The Sphinx wants you to know that you have very strong spiritual abilities, but you haven't really brought them to the surface. And part of it is because how you see, and particularly how you create actually, but how you see the world is so different and so new that you often have found there's been a pushback. And so maybe the question in a way that you would be asking the Sphinx is, how do I bring something new, something so different in that people have not seen it before? It's like, I'm just going to get pushback. And the Sphinx is saying that it's all there. It's just not caring about the pushback, because if you connect more and more to your higher self and to your inner knowing, it's all within you anyway. The mysteries are all within you. So the Sphinx wants you to back yourself on some new thing, and particularly some creative thing, that is not going to cause as much consternation as you think it might. So then if you're encouraged by the Sphinx and you go to the Minoan and you say, Okay, how do I bring in the new? How do I manage this change in my life without kind of destroying everything? I don't want a tower moment. I want to build a tower, basically. So the message from the Minoan to you is Queen of Wands, Eight of Wands. Wow, this is creative. Three of Cups. Okay, all right, this is over there. The Minoan is saying you are more than ready to do this. You are at your creative peak. And you're just meant to liberate that. But you're also meant to draw in the people around you who would care about what you're doing, including potentially love. But there's sort of like a sense of celebration. First, celebrate what you can bring in. See this not as the breaking down of the new, but breaking down of the old, but the bringing in the new of something very, very creatively strong. And look at the fact, you've got over here the Sphinx saying you've been doubting yourself and hiding your creative light. You need to understand what you have to bring to the table. Minoan is saying when you do understand that, you are highly developed. You could be the architect of this. It will move very quickly and it will be celebrated, and it may connect to emotional joy, which then takes us over to the Griffin, who wants to bring in love. So what does the Griffin want to say to you? Queen of Swords, Eight of Swords, the Hanged Man. Okay, you need to think differently about love for some reason. You've actually tied yourself up with what you believe about love, but the Hanged Man sets that free. It may even have been that you felt what was different about you before, what was really the change energy, had stopped you from finding love. So you need to sort of understand that it's what's different about you that is the thing that's going to bring it in. You are not as trapped in whatever the ideas you had of love and the past experiences of love. So this is why it's going in that order. This is why I felt it went in that order. We start with the Sphinx, which is saying all the answers are within you. The Minoan is saying when you realize that, you'll actualize something so beautiful that it is celebrated and joyful. And at that point, you can see yourself differently, I think, because you almost have seen yourself as so different or so separated out that you couldn't bring love in. That you couldn't find that, but you are meant to. With the Scorpio energy and the Griffin here, it's just that you have to embrace what is different about you to bring that in. So it's sort of interesting. It's sort of saying you're meant to be this amazing sort of artistic change agent, and all of it is within you already, but a little bit suppressed. But the reward is the last thing you expect. The last thing you expect. And I think it is meant to be romance. I mean, for some of you, if you're already happy, then there's a whole new way of looking at your relationship that takes it even further. So that's their message to you. So just going to draw a card for each to see how their energy is particularly impacting you at the moment. So the Sphinx energy, this sort of riddles to get you to understand your true knowledge. The Tower. Okay, it's drawing you towards the Uranian energy. This is all meant to be a breakthrough, not a breakdown, but a breakthrough. It clears out old things. It's definitely going to clear out old patterns about love, but it's meant to make you step forward into the change, not to resist it, and to feel confident about that. That's what the Sphinx wants you to do. They want you to get it, though. They want it to come up in you. The whole thing about the Sphinx, as I say, is you had to be able to answer the riddles. You are able to. The Sphinx is saying you can, but you've got to prove that to yourself. That is by embracing the change, which then, what is the impact of the Minoan energy on you once you've sort of embraced the Uranian Tower energy? The Magician reversed. Okay, so you're breaking through everything that is no longer true, I think. The Minoan is not going to accept anything that isn't true, anything that is not authentically you. It's like the Minoan energy here is saying once you've known who you truly are and what your change is, you are not going to be allowed to accept inauthenticity anymore. You have to be authentic. So that impact, there's going to be a push on you to see this through, pile one. And then what does the Griffin's impact become for you? Six of Pentacles. You will get the support that you need. And, I mean, certainly around what you're trying to do. And that may also be a very generous sort of energy that helps you change your attitudes towards love and connection and so forth, and eventually maybe introduces you to someone. Or, as I say, if you are with someone already, maybe money and support is coming that will liberate that energy even more. So what do each want from you in exchange? I'm going to draw 2 cards for each. So what does the Sphinx want in exchange for helping you see the answer to the riddle is within yourself? King of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles. The Sphinx wants you to prove them right. The Sphinx wants you to unearth something that is meant to be taken and created as a legacy. The Sphinx is saying, you are not being chosen for this for no reason. You have a bargain here. You're meant to unearth the new thing and you're meant to see it through, because this will prove the Sphinx right on this. So they want a commitment to go from even before you know what it is, to believe what is being said in this reading, what they're saying to you, to bringing it forward to the point that it's a legacy. So what does the Minoan want as in exchange for support? 5 of Pentacles, 9 of Swords. The Minoan wants you to explore, and this is all around what's inauthentic. What is your fear of being alone, or your fear of monetary issues? Because that's what is blocking you. You are meant to create something that is a legacy, that has money, that has family, has all of those sort of energies. But the Minoan is saying for you to really face this and create the right thing, you have to actually explore your own fears, and particularly your fears about either being alone or your fears about sort of like whether you're going to manifest, like whether you can really do this. The Sphinx was promising right from the beginning, manifestation, you're going to be able to do it. The Minoan is saying energy, you've got the energy to do it. But the Minoan is saying that when you're in the Tower energy, you have to explore your shadow. If you do that and get rid of all that is not you, you can only have success. Then what does the Griffin want in exchange for this sort of generous energy to connect you to romance, love, or a different way of connecting with others? Page of Swords, 5 of Swords reverse. Okay, the Griffin wants you to go back to the 3rd house. Once this has happened, they want you to communicate what you have learnt and seen and never give up. So both the Sphinx and the Griffin are wanting you to go the long haul with this. The Minoan is saying this is how you do it, by facing your shadow and getting rid of anything that would make you doubt. But the Sphinx wants you to go from the very, very first seeds through to bringing this into being. And the Griffin wants you to communicate your journey and never give up. So there's a sense here of a major change, a major evolution that is part of your mythical arc. And this is why these 3 mythological creatures are with you. So let's see what other guidance you can get beyond them. I want to get you an archangel, and I want to get you your own 5D self talking to you. So an archangel that helps with this energy. Azrael. So, and I think it makes sense that I kind of like naturally put the archangel there, because the Minoan is the point at which I think Azrael comes in. I think the Sphinx is getting you to understand who you are, what you're meant to be, and that you're needing to change, a major change to bring in the new. Azrael is helping you let go of all that is not, all the shadow, all that needs to pass away, so that you can bring in the new, because Azrael is the archangel that looks over life and death, over the cycles of life and death, and is in fact a very gentle archangel. So this is a gentle energy to help you go through that. If you understand with the Minoan energy here that this is so that you can create the new, you have to actually really explore and let go of and clear out the past. Azrael can help you do that, can take that energy on for you. And then your own 5D self, connecting with these mythological creatures. Multidimensional, your awareness is expanding, integrating consciousness is to become your highest expression of being, whether that is in connecting with a great love or whether it is communicating the journey that you're on. There is, with the 3rd house, there is something about expressing all this. It's not just an internal journey, and it's not just a journey to love. It's a journey to something which changes the architecture and the way that we express and we communicate and we connect. So it's very powerful energy here. And you are getting multidimensional support. Let's see the fortune energy that they're bringing you. So we'll use Madame Endora and we'll use Lenormand for that. So firstly, a couple of cards from Madame Endora about the fortune energy these mythological creatures are bringing in for you. Earth, utilize logic, reason, and common sense. This, I think, is really around the Sphinx. Sphinx says you have it all, use your logic, use your reason. That's how you could answer riddles, basically. And it's about how you can see something through. You are meant to ground an energy with this. That's why it's sort of like the Minoan's very much about art and architecture as well. And the stars. A long journey brings rewards. Yeah, this is why it's saying it's a long way from the Ace reversed to the King of Pentacles. It's your communication, never give up the messaging. There's a sense of like needing to have endurance with this. Then with Lenormand, Sun, that's beautiful. This is going to be beautiful, even if you feel like it's tumultuous at first. This is beautiful. It's following your life path. It's positive. Sun is always positive. It sheds light on everything that you're trying to do. It sheds light on the mystery, sheds light on getting rid of the shadow energy so that you can move forward, sheds light on the changes that you need to bring the sort of love and connection into your life. And lilies. This could be suggesting that there's a healing energy associated with this. I feel it is around the nature of love. You may have underestimated yourself, I think the Sphinx is suggesting. And you may need to look into that because that might have come from fear. But there is a healing energy, I think, that is around love that comes from succeeding, I think, in something actually helps you heal and be ready for the love energy. So let's also get you some stars to guide you as well. South Node, yeah, there's something you're moving away from. That's got to be done first. That's part of answering the riddle. It's something that no longer can hold. And once you see that and you realize that and let your own inspiration come up, that's how you can embrace the really powerful positive energy that often comes from the Tower card. Then we have Taurus. It's meant to be something earthy, something you ground, and something that makes a major improvement in the enjoyment of your life. Taurus loves life. You know, Taurus loves good food, good wine, good love, all that kind of thing. And opposition. You may have opposed some of this. You may find this opposition over time. You may feel that it's something that is so different to the past that you're almost opposing your own self. But what you're really doing is burning out anything that is inauthentic to bring in the new so that you can get the better connections. So don't worry. Don't worry even if over the period of time you almost oppose yourself on occasion. This is all meant to bring things to the surface and help you keep answering the riddles that you need to answer. So to finish off, I want to pull a card from the dream reading card. So this has dream and oracle visions, and it's meant to give you a sense about something to be aware of when these mythical creatures are nearby. So I'm actually going to pull three, I've decided. I'm going to pull one for each because it could be at different phases. So something that might tell you that the Sphinx energy is near you is, wow, feeling vulnerable maybe, dreams of being naked. So these are dreams where we feel vulnerable, and I think it makes sense. There's a vulnerability that the Sphinx is trying to get you to turn around. So if you have dreams about that sort of thing or dreams about being exposed in some way, the Sphinx is seeing into you and trying to get you to see yourself, not in a way to make you vulnerable, but to make you strong and authentic. So that energy will tell you when the Sphinx is around. Then signs or energies that will tell you when the Minoan energy is around you. School, exams. Okay, so if you have dreams about, going to school, having exams, I constantly have dreams that I've forgotten an exam and haven't got to it in time. So I know this energy. It's a kind of, again, an anxiety energy, which sort of makes sense because there's some anxiety of moving through this. This is telling you that Minoan is actually getting you to go through the change that you need to go through and that you are ready to do it. You're ready to pass the exam. And lastly, to know when the Griffin energy is with you. Action. So any kind of sense where you want to act, want to do something, want to make the first move, want to ask somebody out, want to connect with someone, want to do things that are active, maybe somebody will ask you out and they want to go and sort of, hike in the woods or something. Action, anything around action is an energy that takes you towards what the Griffin is trying to bring in. So I do think for you, this is a bit of a journey. It's a bit of a long journey, to be honest, but the Sphinx is saying all the answers are within you. The Minoan is saying that once you actually burn out anything that is not authentic to you, you are going to, by the virtue of that, create something so new that it will shift everything, including relationship blocks if you have them. And that at that point, the Griffin can help you take the action that you need to really bring love, happiness, whatever else you are looking for into your life. So I hope that was fun, having a little bit of an interaction with these mythological creatures. I hope that you enjoyed it and it resonated for you. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Mermaid, which we'll go through each of these things in turn. But I think most people know what mermaids are. So obviously these sort of famed creatures that were half fish and half human. You also came to the hippogriff. Hippogriff is an interesting being. It's the concept of mating a griffin and a horse. And the likelihood of that happening is next to impossible. So it's sort of as a way of recognition of the impossible, but nevertheless maybe the possible impossible, if that makes sense. And then you also came to Leviathan. Now Leviathan is, as I said, some of the mythological creatures in this deck are ones that have been demonized, but Leviathan is also the great dragon of the sea, the great dragon of chaos and creation, is in high magic, sometimes also interchangeable with the Ouroboros. And so the Leviathan energy here is a very positive energy. So as I say, this is not meant to be kind of like creatures from demonology or whatever. So don't think of it in that way. Think of it as the cycles of life, I think. And this is why I think it's talking about rebirth, and it fits with that sort of sense that the Leviathan is also the Ouroboros. So that's really interesting. So you have a combination of the mermaid. Now the mermaid here talks about mercy. It says this universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already are. This is, I think, an energy of the combination of the human senses and all the great spiritual eddies and flows of the deep. And that sort of sense of like that you contain the whole world in a way, as it is saying. It's also mercy. It's interesting. So many of the sort of stories about mermaids often have a kind of bittersweet sort of energy to them. So there is a sense of mercy. And I think the mermaid here for you is about how to be compassionate, kind and merciful, but still go towards what you want, what is within you, because it's connected to Mars. So mercy as an action is a way of having the battles that you might need to do to maybe, when you think about these two, sort of reconcile opposites, because as I say, the sense of the fish and the human, the horse and the griffin, there's something here, I think, about the reconciliation of opposites done in an act of mercy or compassion. It's something like that that's being talked about for you. The hippogriff here talks about a journey. It says difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. Never give up because great things take time. And it's connected to the 7th house. So I feel as though, particularly with the way that mermaids are often, like the mermaids fall in love with somebody on land and that kind of thing in many of the stories, I think there's something here about the energy and the action towards love, even if it is difficult, even if there are some opposite sort of energies operating here that you have to balance off. And for some of you, it may literally be talking about a reconciliation when we have Leviathan with rebirth. Otherwise, it could be sort of a twin flame or a soul twin coming in, because that sort of sense of things that cross the karmic barrier. The message here is, remember, you have the capacity to choose. Choose life, choose love, choose health, choose happiness. And if we're talking about, again, opposites, it's a choice. There's a choice associated with opposites or things that are seemingly, so it may be even a choice of two things that seem so seemingly impossible to be together can actually be together. And then we have the moon, which is sort of like all the emotional sort of energy and the depths and the psychic energy. So I do feel that this is about a significant relationship. It doesn't have to be romance. The 7th house is not always romance. But I think that there is something about this that these mythological characters are saying where something might seem to be impossible or seem to be so different it can't be. It's even in that, it's like the mirroring effect or the twin soul effect, all that kind of thing. There's something that can be born that is very emotionally deep. So very interesting energy. So let's see what we get with tarot. So firstly, we're going to ask for a message from each of them. Then we're going to ask how their energy impacts you, and then we're going to ask what they ask of you. So firstly, the message from the mermaid, since that was the card that brought you here, taking into account this is about an act of mercy, compassion, empathy, and potentially love. The Hierophant, the Wheel of Fortune, the Knight of Cups. Yeah, it's definitely about love. Whether it's romantic love, you will know better, but it's definitely about that. I think that this is a love or a connection that is karmic, like deeply karmic, but maybe comes from very different belief structures, different sort of like societal classes or something. There's something with the Hierophant here where the contradiction, because I'm looking for what they're talking about, which might be the contradiction, I think is around belief structures, cultures, all of that kind of thing. Yet the love is there and the karmic connection is there. So I think this is talking about something where there is a difference in belief or a difference in approach or a difference in culture that is impacting a love connection, whether it's romance or not, but that this is so karmic that it has to be enacted in some way. And the reconciliation of the opposites and the rebirth of the connection is necessary. Therefore, you have to go on a journey. But firstly, you have to be merciful to yourself or others. You may even have to be merciful to a culture that you grew up in that you're going to walk away from so that you can connect with this person. But whatever it is, it starts with a sense of an action of mercy or compassion. You then go on the journey towards the connection, and then there is the rebirth. Then there is the sort of spiritual movement. So let's see next then from the Hippogriff, what the Hippogriff's message to you is. Two of Wands reversed, Queen of Swords, Four of Wands. Okay. There is something about this. It's about two people. It's definitely about two people. You and another person. And there is like it's like different cultures, different pathways you're on, different everything basically. And the Hippogriff is saying here that there is a sense of like the mind is overtaking, it's like it's keeping the separation going. But in actual fact, the destination is a sense of togetherness. So it's like, but Hippogriff is also saying to you, because he's saying difficult roads often lead to beautiful outcomes. If you use this amazing intellect you have, which you have with the Queen of Swords, you can actually work out how to reconcile the opposites and have this work. It's an act of kind of a different analysis, a different way of looking at it, which then leads to Leviathan. So what is Leviathan saying to you? Three of Wands reversed. Three of Cups reversed. The Magician. Oh, wow. Okay. I think Leviathan is telling you here, because of the nature of Leviathan, is telling you about the history so that you understand the emotional depths. Leviathan is telling you this is the third time you've been around this situation, or possibly the fourth. It's either the two situations have not worked out before, or three haven't, because it's like it's two or three times that you've gone in a different direction, two or three times where there have been other people involved or you weren't able to be together. But the magic, and remember, as I say, Leviathan is very strongly connected to high magic and the concept of the Ouroboros. The magic is now, it's almost like three times lucky, or after three, then three's the charm. It's like this is going to be reborn in a different way, and you are at a point where you can do something with it. You have the skills to do this now. But it was a long road, and it's over more than one lifetime by the looks of things. So let's see what impact each of these mythological characters have on you. So the mermaid's impact on you. Just get one card for that. Six of Cups reversed. She's helping you remember. And if there are blocks that had to do with family and culture or whatever, she's helping you move away from that, but in a gentle, kind way, not in a way that has to be really combustible. What energy are you getting from the Hippogriff? The Emperor. This is about sovereignty in some way, taking your own sovereignty. It could be about you deciding who's going to be the person who decides in this case. It could also be that you are either a divine masculine or the other party is a divine masculine. That energy, the Hippogriff, could be bringing that impact to you. If this is sort of like a twin flame or a soulmate, which I suspect it is. And then what is the impact of Leviathan for you? 8 of Cups, being able to move away from the old patterns, the moon again, moon energy. Moving you away from the old, bringing you into the new, getting you ready emotionally. So what do each of these mythological characters want in return? Not as a kind of a bargain, but why have they chosen you? What is the energy exchange that's going on? So with the mermaid, we'll draw 2 cards for what the mermaid wants from you. 9 of Cups reversed. The Devil reversed. She wants this to be the breaking of the chain. It is a very merciful, lovely energy here. Just as Leviathan over here is telling you it hasn't worked before, it's going to work this time, she wants you to finally break the chain of the disappointment. That's what she wants you. And she wants you to just focus on that, not on recriminations, not on anything like that. Just see this as breaking the chains that held back your wish. What does the Hippogriff want from you? 4 of Pentacles, 2 of Cups reversed. The Hippogriff wants you to believe it's possible to build a foundation where you haven't been able to before, and to get to at least a particular point so that you can start to believe, not to give up before then. It's a long journey, remember. But if you can get to that foundation, you get past the doubt. That's all the Hippogriff is asking at the moment. Then it hands over to Leviathan, which is bringing in the really strong karmic energy here. So what does Leviathan want from you? 3 of Swords reversed. Justice. Oh, wow. Wants to enter the pain and wants your just result. You deserve this relationship. Leviathan wants you to have the relationship or the connection in whatever form this is, for you to come into your true magic, to right a wrong. There's been a wrong associated with this over probably at least 2, if not 3 lifetimes. And Leviathan wants that 3 energy to end. This is the end, Leviathan is saying. Justice is coming. Let go of those patterns. You are ready. You are ready as the magician. Okay, very powerful. So let's see some other spiritual guidance. So let's get you an archangel, and then let's also get you your own 5D self for what they have to say about this. So the archangel that can help alongside these mythological creatures is Rockpool. Wow. That makes perfect sense because he's the archangel of compassion and love. Compassion and healing with the mermaid, moving through and journeying towards love, towards healing, all of those things. So this is definitely about something quite cosmic, I would say, that is meant to heal now, but that it needs to heal with compassion. I feel like you and this other party, as I say, whether you're lovers or not, I suspect you are, but even if you aren't, whatever it is, you were separated or sacrificed in some way before around all of this, and it wasn't right, and this is the time for it to be right. And Rockpool is here to bring that in. So that comes in with love and belief, not with a sort of sense of anger, using that energy in a really positive way. And then your 5D self in relation to this message. Heart choices. Gee, you can't get more obvious than this. It's pretty full on, isn't it? You cannot deceive your own heart when you honour your truth and follow your happiness. It's certainly meant to bring love, happiness, and so forth in, even if it is a bit of a long journey to do it. And the first step is to forgive, then to believe. Then Leviathan can come in and bring it through for you and end the pain and end all the patterns before. So let's have a look at some fortune energy that's around it as well. So we're going to use Madame Endora and also a Lenormand deck. So Madame Endora, fortune energy that you will experience in this sort of help from these mythological characters. The wolf, beware who you trust. So there have been people who there's injustice around this. They will help you see that. I think particularly Leviathan will, because Leviathan looks pretty keen to make sure that no injustice is done this time. But you do need to be careful. And water, emotions are at their peak. Yeah, because this is all about emotion. But remember, we've got the moon with Leviathan. We've got it's heading in the right direction. But also when you're working out who to trust, might see what the emotional responses to things are. That might be a bit of a clue for you. Then in terms of Lenormand, man, okay, it's a bit like the Emperor turning up. There's an important man involved in this. Now, if that isn't your preference and this is about romance, then it could be that there is an important person associated with this. Or it could be you if you identify with either the divine masculine more than the divine feminine, or identify with being a man or you're a man. But I feel like it's probably either the other party in this or someone who's important. May even be saying there is a man not to trust for some of you, who's a wolf, the wolf. And then we also have mountain. Yeah, this is big. This is not a small thing. There's not a small relationship. This is big. It's a big mountain to climb. It's a journey, but it's worth it. The mountain is always about things that are worth it. It's big, but it is important. Okay, so let's also get you some stars to guide your way. Leo. There's a great deal of loyalty associated with this. There's also like how you show yourself in the world. Strength is the tarot card associated with it. So there's a sort of a sense of almost something performative and self-directed in this for you. Earth is meant to ground and be on earth and come into being. And water. Again, water, the moon. I feel like there's a very scorpionic energy to this, but I mean, it could be Piscean as well, or Cancer, but I'm sort of feeling with the kind of energies we're looking at, it's probably more Scorpio or Pisces. But these could also be the earth and water signs are important in your chart or in the chart of the other person as well. Okay, so just to finalise, I'm going to draw a card from the dream reading cards to see dream or oracular images, sensations or whatever that will tell you when each of these mythological characters are close to you. So firstly, around the mermaid. Dreams of weather, natural events. Well, that sort of makes sense because she's in the water. So dreams about the weather, natural events, change, storms, tidal waves, whatever it might be. Things like that could tell you. Plus, I think also she may be close when the weather changes and so forth around you. You may feel her close. What will tell you that the hippogriff is close by? Trust. Okay, trust yourself in the universe's plan. The more that you feel trust in what you're doing, the more the hippogriff is there in your energy field, because that's what he's trying to get you to do all over, is believe that what appears to be impossible is very, very possible. And then how you will know that Leviathan is nearby. Magic. Oh, the magician. Shift your focus to a positive view. Magic. Leviathan is magic. Very strongly connected to high magic. This is very much a sign, like when you feel the magic of it, when you feel that this is bigger than just the day-to-day, that's when you'll know that Leviathan is with you. So, very exciting, very interesting pile two. I hope that resonated. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile three, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Horus. We've also got the Nemean lion and Pegasus. So these are the three mythological creatures around you. So Horus, of course, is an Egyptian god. He is the son of Isis and Osiris. And when Osiris was murdered by Seth, he was an enemy of Seth and eventually did defeat Seth. He's a very interesting Egyptian god. He's very important in many schools of high magic, and some talk about the eon of Horus, the period of time of Horus, so to speak, as a period of enlightenment and magical knowledge. So that's very interesting. What this card talks about is faith. Don't cry over the past, it's gone. Don't stress about the future, it hasn't arrived. Live now and in the present. And we have Mercury, which is very much around an intellectual understanding of something. Horus's right eye, I think it was the sun, and his left eye was the moon, so sort of the emotional and the depths and so forth. So there's a sense of the balance of the kind of alchemical balance associated with Horus and his knowledge and so forth. So Mercury, I think, here is saying that there is something here about you being able to express and understand your faith in the future, that maybe there is something, given the story of Horus, where something has sort of happened either in your family ancestry potentially, or around you that had seemed unjust. So Horus is here to show you that you can rise above that and you can actually be victorious if you have faith. And your communication skills and your intellect are a very important part of that. Then we have Pegasus, the winged horse. So I think this is a sense, it talks about elegance. Through meditation, you will be in love, and through love, you will be in meditation. There's something here about going within to find your own knowledge and your own power. But I also think within, but also above, I feel like Pegasus is a sense of like a winged horse. So that aerial view, understanding things on a larger scale, and yet at a very intimate scale with the fourth house. So it feels as though this is something about who you are at home, who you are at your core, or something that has to do with family, ancestry, something along those lines, something that you need to get a different perspective on, that you then will get the clarity and have the faith that you know and you understand what's going on. And then you're invincible pretty much, because the Nemean lion was theoretically a monster, because he was pretty much unbeatable, because his fur was made of gold. So it took Hercules to beat him in the end. So this is a sense of something very powerful within you that is unstoppable, and it connects with Leo. So it's something that you can show to the world, something that you can perform, something you can be loyal to. And the Nemean lion here talks about gratitude. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So I think this is saying you have an extremely powerful guide. Like, that's how I would read it, like an almost unbeatable guide that connects with your own Leonian energy, your own courage, your own sense of mastery. But the core thing is to know that whatever this was that might have shaken your faith, can now, your own mind and your own understanding of it, and this higher view that still has a very intimate, psychologically acute understanding, will make you unstoppable in something, whatever this is for you. So let's get some messages from them. So we're going to have 3 cards for each from the tarot to see a little bit more about the message that they're bringing. So the message that Horus is bringing you around having faith and using your mind and your communication is 2 of Wands reversed, sorry, I almost dropped some cards, so I just reshuffled then. 9 of Pentacles reversed, Queen of Cups. Okay. So Horus is saying that you are very emotionally astute and emotionally developed. So that's part of having faith in that your mind knows what it's doing and it's emotionally attuned. But there has been something where differences of opinion in some form of group, you've had to be with others in some way or rely on others, and there's been differences of opinion. But Horus is saying that whatever this was, it gave you information and understanding of yourself. So a classic way of reading that would have been coming from a family where you were very different or you weren't understood. You were sort of like, when you were young, you had to rely on them for sort of like a roof over your head or that kind of thing. But somehow in having the difference, in seeing the battle, in whatever it is that picks up that Horus sort of energy, it accelerated your intellect and your emotional understanding. So Horus is saying now you can have faith in what you learned in that period of time for whatever this is. Then Pegasus, getting this higher level view, but also one that almost, it's like, I really get 2 visions. Like, one is being on Pegasus, way up above, seeing a very broad brush view of whatever this is, but then also maybe almost getting a microscope and seeing right down to the intimate details of whatever this is to really understand how to move forward. Because I feel like you're going to right a wrong. That's what I feel this is all about. So with Pegasus is saying the Devil reverse. Yeah, you're definitely going to right a wrong. The Wheel of Fortune, the 9 of Cups. Yeah, something that was heartbreaking, something that was wrong. You're freeing it. You're freeing it from the karmic wheel of time. And I think in doing it, you can release a wish, but first of all, you have to release something. It's like releasing karma. It's releasing. It's why we've seen something like Horus with such a apocryphal sort of story about, family dynamics, let's face it, in the Egyptian pantheon, and then this sort of sense of like, what does that mean on a big picture, but what does it mean also very personally? This is like freeing a karmic thing, freeing some sort of like karmic debt, ancestral trauma, something like that. So then the Nemean lion gives you the strength, this sort of almost unbeatable strength as a guide. So what does the Nemean lion want to say to you? Justice reversed, Knight of Cups reversed, Six of Cups. Yeah, it's saying the same thing over and over. Something very unjust, very unloving, that goes right to the core of family or the beginning of your life, that kind of thing. There's sort of something of the past, and this is what you have to battle. Whether it's even your battle, I'm not sure, because Horus battled on behalf of his father. So it may be that you're taking on something from a family legacy or a friendship legacy from when you were young or something like that. But there is definitely something that is meant to be put to rights. So let's see the energy that you get from each of these. So the energy that you get from Horus, Two of Cups reversed. Okay, Horus wants to help you, but he's quite unsentimental about it. He wants your mind. He's not really that interested in connecting with your heart about this. He wants your mind. He wants your faith and your mind and your determination. It's nothing sentimental. Which is not to say that he isn't caring, but this is not a matter for sentimentality. What energy does Pegasus, the impact of Horus on you is unsentimental. What is the impact? Sorry, that was what that was meant to be, impact rather than what he wants. His impact on you is unsentimental. What is the impact on you from Pegasus, from this higher order understanding? Eight of Wands, flight, travel, movement, seeing where you need to go, understanding it better, understanding it well enough to have the inspiration to move on. What is the impact of the Nemean lion, this strength for you? Page of Wands. You have your quest. You know what you want. You see what you have to do. And you start a journey. So then what do they want from you? Because I kind of got a bit confused there with Horus, and I think it's because Horus kind of, what he gives is what he wants, really. So what does he want from you? If he's not giving anything too sentimental, what does he want from you? Nine of Wands, Queen of Wands. Faith in yourself and to keep on keeping on. Basically. Yeah, it's not sentimental. He wants action. Action. Something has to happen. What does Pegasus want from you? Page of Swords reversed. Five of Swords. This is why Pegasus is taking you up high. It's to get you to see where the communication is not clear, so that you can understand there are certain things that you just need to move away from so that you can get the better focus. This is why I was getting the, first of all, you're high, then it's the microscope. It's like if you can get high enough, you can work out where there was confusion. You can see the whole lay of the land. Then when you come down close, you can work out what are the battles that are worth fighting. So Pegasus wants you to find clarity. And what does the Nemean lion want? Ten of Swords reversed. Nine of Swords. They just want you to end whatever this thing was. To know that you can do it too. To not worry about it, to feel no guilt. Like, it's quite unsentimental, this. This feels very much like you're righting a wrong. And it just, Horus is going, you just do it. And Pegasus is saying, you'll understand when you get those two perspectives. And the Nemean lion is saying, I'm here to make this strong. You just see it through. You just see it through. It's not necessarily saying that you're merciless or anything, but it is saying that you're determined. Like, determination is the sense that I'm getting from this. So let's get you some other support. So let's get you an archangel and also some advice from your 5D self. So an archangel energy for you. Well, that's funny. That came up with one of the others, Rick Beale. So having said all of this about how this is really lacking in like empathy and compassion, it's really doing things, Rick Beale is here to keep compassion in your soul while it's going on, because Rick Beale is about compassion and about healing and that sort of thing. So after this, I think Rick Beale is here to make sure that you don't become hardened by this. One of the things, it's like, this is like battling monsters, battling the dark, battling something that's wrong. And there's always a risk that you become the thing you despise. And like, I think Horus and Pegasus and the Nemean lion just want you to get on with it. Rick Beale is here to make sure you don't become what you despise in the process of fighting it. That, when, those who fight monsters can become the monster. Or what's that other one that, those who if hero lives long enough to be seen as the villain or something like that. This Rickbiel is stopping that, is making sure that you do have the compassion energy. And your 5D self, creative engineer, you have a creative intelligence capable of multiple solutions. This is, you will work out how to do this. Your 5D self knows that you can find the way around this. This is why Mercury was so important at the beginning. It's like Horus knows you can do it. Pegasus knows that given the right information, the right perspectives, you're going to be able to design the outcome. The Nemean Lion knows that you would have the strength to do it. Rickbiel is here to make sure that as a process of this, of righting whatever this wrong is, there is ultimately still compassion at the end, which is important. So let's see the fortune around this. We'll have a look at Madame Endora, and we'll also have a look at Lenormand. So fortune energy around what these mythological characters are bringing to you. Air, seek a union of mind and spirit. This is the Mercury. This is Horus. This is saying like it's about what you believe, and also being in the air with Pegasus. Like it's very important to get that perspective and to have it as something you think, something that you could articulate. And hand of fate, forces beyond your control intervene. I think that this is the Nemean Lion, saying that like this is meant to happen. All you have to do is get the perspective and commit to doing it. The Nemean Lion's going to be here as a guide and giving you the strength to see it through. This is destined. Okay, and in terms of Lenormand, we get snake. Yeah, there's some things you have to be careful about what to trust. This is why you need to use your intellect. This is why you need to get the perspective. There's something wrong. There's something that has to be healed and fixed. And crossroad. Yeah, you've reached a point where you have to make a choice. You can't not do it. You won't be able to ignore this, pole 3. Okay, so let's get you some stars to guide you, since it's pretty full on. Get the waxing gibbous moon, adjustments, clarify your direction and intention. This is Pegasus really, I think. Getting you that perspective, the multiple perspectives to be able to work out your next steps. Then we have Cancer. So this is protecting and family and home. There's something about home, family, those that you care about. It comes actually from a place of love, but what you have to do is a steely reserve and a clarity to move forward and just see it through. And then you can go back to the compassionate again. And the second house, it will ultimately bring fortune. And it connects very much with your values and so forth. It may be that you have to right a wrong around money, status, that kind of thing in your family, potentially. But for others of you, it may be that once you do this, you understand some skills that you have that you can then use to create the life that you want to create. Okay, so to finish off, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a card for each of the mythological creatures. And we're just going to see what energy from the dream reading cards, either dream or oracular type of energy or signs, will tell you when these mythological creatures are close by. So for Horus, relationships. Okay, so any kind of oracular sort of sense you have, sort of like ideas, thoughts, particularly thoughts, I think, you know, like kind of clear audience maybe, like maybe hearing something, or clear sentience, sort of being able to sense something that have to do with connections, relationships and so forth, will tell you that Horus is around. And it's, I think, particularly family or karmic relationships in some senses. For Pegasus, weather, natural events, dreams about weather and natural events, you know, would tell you that that energy is close by. And it's interesting because when you dream about those sort of things, they tend to be really big, like up in the sky and very dramatic. Could also be that Pegasus is nearby, asking you to either get an aerial view or take a really intimate look at something when there are major changes in weather. Pay attention to that timing. And then the Nemean Lion, to know when the Nemean Lion is with you. Connection. We are all connected. I think like we see a spider's web there. I think that kind of energy of connection, and you'll feel it. You'll feel the connection. I feel like it's a bit electrical. It's subtle but electrical. Also the fact that we sort of see the world there. Anytime you maybe see sort of pictures of the world, that kind of thing, you know, globes or whatever, that might be all signs that the Nemean Lion and that strength is with you. But I think it's also saying that strength, that unstoppable strength, is you have that connection at all times. You'll feel that sense of power at all times. So this is probably the heaviest of the readings of the three, but nevertheless, I have no doubt, and I think the mythological creatures have no doubt that you can do what is required of you here. But certainly, I'm very glad to see there's that really strong energy around you to help you. I hope that has resonated. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.